Okay, so I'm just going to make some carbonara, very easy to make. So all I've got in this pan is the inside of the courgette. You don't need to use that, it's just because I'm going to be using courgette with it. So just the inside bit that didn't go through the spiralizer, I'm putting that in. Also, I'm putting in mushrooms, quite a few mushrooms, probably more than you think you need because they're going to, shrink down. I've also got quite a large piece of butter. Now you do need this butter because this is going to do the sauce for later. And I'm also adding in here some garlic, just your ready done garlic. You don't have to add garlic in, but it does taste nice with garlic. So you've got garlic, butter and mushrooms, and then I've just got extra courgettes in. So while that's cooking down, I'm going to start grating my cheese. Now obviously because it's quite fattening carbonara, I'm serving it with courgette and a little bit of that low carb pasta as well, just to try and reduce the calorie count a little bit. So you need to cook these mushrooms in the butter and garlic slowly. You don't want to brown them, you're just softening them 5-10 minutes. And while that's going on, I'm going to cut up my ham, just using regular ham. You can use bacon, you can use lardons, whatever you like, and just some cheddar type cheese. I'm using Comté. So while they're cooking down, I'll grate the cheese and chop my ham. Okay, that's gone a bit too high. Okay, so it's about 5 minutes later. They've just been slowly cooking, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of liquid there. So that's the water off the mushrooms and also the butter. So this liquid, now you just need to put some flour in to absorb that liquid, and this is going to be the roux that you're going to make. So I just sprinkle it in. I know people have like a big worries over it going lumpy and it's going to be the end of the world, but I've never had a problem with it. So what we want is that the amount of flour is going to be absorbed, so there's no powdery flour left and there's no liquid left. So I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can, still a little bit of liquid down this end. So I'm just going to put a little bit more flour in. So now you can see the liquid has all been absorbed with the flour, and there's kind of no liquid left, and there's also no like white powdery flour. It's all mixed in, and it's kind of made this squidgy mess. So to this squidgy mess, I'm going to add a little bit of milk. Turn it up a little bit. I'm just going to put all that in. That's probably a bit too much to put in one go, but it's the end of it. So this little bit of milk will kind of mix in with the flour butter mixture, and this is what is going to start making our sauce. So really don't worry about it. Yeah, it looks a mess now, but it's gonna sort itself out as it cooks through. So now you can see we've got still really thick mush around the mushrooms, and all the milk has been absorbed. Then a little bit more milk, not too much again. So this little extra bit of milk now needs to just slowly get incorporated. There we go. think that possibly the only way you could get lumps is you just chuck loads of milk in at the same time. Just putting a little bit in at a time like this, and then waiting for that little bit of milk to be absorbed. I've never gone wrong. Now if you don't want to put mushrooms in, obviously the courgettes I use you don't need to use, I'm just using them up. But if you don't want to put mushrooms in, you can put onions and, you know, cook them till they're softened, do the same thing. Or you can do it with the lardons. If you've got the lardons, cook the lardons, and then the fat from the lardons you mix with the flour. And obviously that would make a more traditional carbonara, but I love it with mushrooms. And the only thing you need to watch out for is if you have the mushrooms with the black, you know, the underneath bit's black, it can turn your sauce a little bit grey, but it still tastes nice. You can get around that by using something like a double Gloucester, so then your sauce is orange. So it depends if you want your sauce to be grey or orange, whichever you think is the least offensive. So just gently making sure that none of the flour is stuck on the bottom, and you're washing the roux off the mushrooms, which is going to give you this nice thick sauce. So that looks quite nice to me now, not too bad. It will thicken up a bit because there's still some of it around the mushrooms, but at this point I'm going to put the cheese in so that I can start melting, and also I'm putting ham in. Now obviously that's up to you how much ham you put in, if you're putting any in, but usually carbonara has ham and cheese, and then in my house it has mushrooms as well. But this is just going to slowly, as the cheese melts down and the ham gets coated in the sauce, by the time that's done, it'll be done. Obviously if it seems a little bit thick you can add a touch more milk, but if you can see here it's gone thick, but that's just because of the cheese. Once that cheese melts it'll come back you know, runny again. I mean, you don't want the sauce liquid, you need it to be thick enough to coat the pasta. Obviously in this case I'm doing this with courgette. Try and reduce the calories a bit. You don't want to be skimping on your cheese. You can't skimp on the butter either, because the butter or fat, so if you were doing it with the lardons you could use the fat from the lardons, but you need that fat to mix with the flour to create the sauce, the roux. But obviously a little bit of courgette. I'm just going to nuke my courgettes. A little bit of courgette will do it no end good. I'm just going to put in there some black pepper just because I like it. It's up to you, whatever you like. Goes nice with cheese. Giving that cheese time to melt. Now, traditionally carbonara does have egg in it, but obviously I don't eat egg, so this is without egg. If you want to put an egg in there, I would whisk it slightly, you know, to break it up, and put it in at this point where it's not boiling, and just make sure you're mixing it in. But for me, I don't put egg in, and it's lovely, it's creamy, it's delicious. Still, can you see it's a little bit too thick because the cheese hasn't melted? Don't be tempted to put more milk in just yet. Let that cheese melt and maybe we'll put a drop in after. But don't forget also with your pasta, if you're using like a tagliatelle, it's going to be wet from cooking it. It's going to have that little bit of cooking water. So you need this sauce thick to be able to coat that. So hopefully. Now this, it's got lumps because the lumps of the mushroom and the ham. There's no actual lumps in the sauce. The sauce itself is creamy. I don't know if you can see that. There's a bit of courgette, but it's creamy cheese sauce. Delicious. Now, you don't need to put this on pasta. Oh, that tastes nice. You can also put it on like cauliflower. So if you've cooked cauliflower, then put it in an oven-proof dish, pour this sauce over the top, put it under the grill, maybe a little bit of extra cheese, and off you go. So I'm going to leave that there, and hopefully you found that useful. Very easy, quick, works every time. Carbonara sauce. Right, don't know if you can see the, that bowl's hot. If you can see the pasta, or some pasta and the courgette. Put about half of that on. Maybe a little bit more, because it's going to be delicious. And there you go. See that? Nice and thick, smooth, creamy, cheesy, mushroomy, hammy. Enjoy! Thanks for watching, subscribe! Okay, I hope you can hear me over the dishwasher, but I'm just wanting to say that I could, the other day I said I could make some cauliflower cheese with the carbonara recipe. So today I'm actually making broccoli cheese because I haven't got any cauliflower. So I've just cooked this broccoli, and then the cheese that I didn't use the other day for the carbonara with the pasta, I'm now using that instead. I just heated it up in the microwave so it's a bit runny again, and I'm putting that on top of the, you can put it on top of cauliflower, but in this case I'm putting it on top of the broccoli, so that'll be really nice. Now the broccoli obviously is hot and cooked, and the sauce is hot and cooked, so all I'm going to do now is put a little bit of extra grated cheese on, which I've already done, and then I'm just going to put it under the grill for a few minutes, crisp up the top, and that is easy. Completely different way of using up that leftover carbonara sauce, and absolutely delicious. Okay, I'll come back when I get it out of the grill. Okay, so we're back now, 5-10 minutes under a preheated grill, and if I lift it up, where's that shadow coming from? Oh, but it's the camera. I don't know if you can see that crispy cheese topping. That is going to be absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to have some of that with a bit of salad, and smells gorgeous and it's going to taste gorgeous, and it's super simple. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, and have a good night.